Chapter 48. Percy. Aklus lunged at Percy, and for a split second he thought, well, hey, I'm just smoke. She can't touch me, right? He imagined the fates up in Olympus, laughing at his wishful thinking. LOL, noob. The goddess's claws raked across his chest and stung like boiling water. Percy stumbled backwards, but he wasn't used to being smoky. His legs moved too slowly. His arms felt like tissue paper. In desperation, he threw his backpack at her, thinking maybe it turned solid when it left his hand. But no such luck. It fell with a soft thud. Aklus snarled, crouching to spring. She would have bitten Percy's face off if Annabeth hadn't charged and screamed, "Hey!" right in the goddess's ear. Aklus flinched, turning towards the sound. She slashed out at Annabeth, but Annabeth was better at moving than Percy. Maybe she wasn't feeling as smoky, or maybe she had more combat training. She'd been at Camp Half-Blood since she was 7. Perhaps she'd had classes that Percy never got, like how to fight while partially made of smoke. Annabeth dove straight between the goddess's legs and somersaulted to her feet. Aklus turned and attacked, but Annabeth dodged again like a matador. Percy was so stunned he lost a few precious seconds. He stared at corpse Annabeth, shrouded in mist but moving as fast and confidently as ever. Then it occurred to him, why was she doing this? To buy time? Which meant Percy needed to help. He thought furiously, trying to come up with a way to defeat misery. How could he fight when he couldn't touch anything? Only at Aklus's third attack, Annabeth wasn't so lucky. She tried to veer aside, but the goddess grabbed Annabeth's wrist and pulled hard, sending her sprawling. Before the goddess could pounce, Percy advanced, yelling and waving his sword. He still felt about as solid as a Kleenex, but his anger seemed to help him move faster. "Hey! Happy!" he yelled. Aklus spun, dropping Annabeth's arm. "Happy?" she demanded. "Yeah!" He ducked as she swiped at his head. "You're downright cheerful!" "Ah!" She lunged again, but she was off balance. Percy sidestepped and backed away, leading the goddess farther from Annabeth. "Pleasant!" he called. "Delightful!" The goddess snarled and winced. She stumbled after Percy. Each compliment seemed to hit her like sand in the face. "I will kill you slowly!" she growled, her eyes and nose watering, blood dripping from her cheeks. "I will cut you into pieces as a sacrifice tonight!" Annabeth struggled to her feet. She started rifling through her pack, no doubt looking for something that might help. Percy wanted to give her more time. She was the brains. Better for him to get attacked while she came up with a brilliant plan. "Cuddly!" Percy yelled. "Fuzzy! Warm! And huggable!" Aklus made a growling, choking noise like a cat having a seizure. "A slow death!" she screamed. "A death from 1,000 poisons!" All around her, poisonous plants grew and burst like overfilled balloons. Green and white sap trickled out, collecting into pools, and began flowing across the ground towards Percy. The sweet-smelling fumes made his head feel wobbly. "Percy!" Annabeth's voice sounded far away. Hey, Miss Wonderful! Cheerful! Grins! Over here!" But the goddess of misery was now fixated on Percy. He tried to retreat again. Unfortunately, the poison ichor was following all around him now, making the ground steam and the air burn. Percy found himself stuck on an island of dust not much bigger than a shield. A few yards away, his backpack smoked and dissolved into a puddle of goo. Percy had nowhere to go. He fell to one knee. He wanted to tell Annabeth to run, but he couldn't speak. His throat was as dry as dead leaves. He wished there was water in Tartarus, some nice pool he could jump into to heal himself, or maybe a river he can control. He'd settle for a bottle of avian. "You will feed the eternal darkness," Aklus said. "You will die in the arms of night." He was dimly aware of Annabeth shouting, throwing random pieces of draken jerky at the goddess. The white-green poison kept pooling, little streams trickling from the plants as the venomous lake around him got wider and wider. Lake, he thought. Streams. Water. Probably it was just his brain getting fried from poison fumes, but he croaked out a laugh. Poison was liquid. If it moved like water, it must be partially water. Then he remembered some science lecture about the human body being mostly water. He remembered extracting water from Jason's lungs back in Rome. If he can control that, then why not other liquids?